What's up, fight fans? Jonathan King here from Up Next Fighting. I am joined by none other than the newest face of Up Next Fighting, Thor Skancke. Thor, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
I'm doing great. I mean, I'm really happy right now. You know, like I feel like I'm cloud nine. I'm doing what I love. I'm surrounded by people that I love, and you know, I'm ready to get it going. I cannot wait for these fights, man. I can't wait.
Okay, so you're taking on the role of like Up Next Fighting ambassador, social media guy. Like, what does it mean to you to be back involved in the fight game? I know it's been a while since you fought last, and you run a gym and you train fighters, but now to be back involved in the fight game itself, how does that feel?
So, you know, I'm always involved in the fight game in some way. I either have fighters that are competing, but this is different. This is different. This is something that this is uncharted waters for me. Like, I've never been on this side of the camera, and you know, I'm really excited for this new endeavor. I really can't wait for it. You know, like, it gets me up in the morning. You know, I'm like, I can't state enough how much I'm looking forward to this next card. But yeah, it means a lot to me. You know, to be able to use my my past experiences and also my creative know-how to you know, to bring a little bit of to help the organization out in any way I can.
Well, you've always been known on the California scene as one of the more entertaining fighters, not just in the cage, but as far as building up and leading up. You've amassed a tremendous following. How do you think that's going to help you move on to the next step in your career of being an ambassador for Up Next Fighting?
I think it's going to go swimmingly. I think we're going to, I think it goes really well together to be able to be one of those people that can basically start a riot. You know, like, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to get in there and get the fans excited, you know, because we already, you know, for a fighter to look at this organization as opposed to a lot of regional organizations and want to fight for us, I mean, it's a no-brainer. You know, shots fired, I don't care. You know, I mean, we do more for the fighters. We show the proper respect to the fighters. And frankly, we have the best product out there. Now, my job is to make these fans understand that too. The people that are coming to a show to see to really be entertained. You know, not just fight fans, but the product is the best here. You know what I mean? The value is the best. If you're looking for something to do on a Saturday night, you live in Los Angeles, you need to come down.
Now, as a fighter, you fought for several different promotions, so you've gotten a taste on what it's like to fight for King of the Cage, for Lights Out Extreme Fighting, or California Extreme Fighting. You've been on a lot of these cards that I myself have called your fights. How does that translate, you know, to the next step in your career? Like, going from those big venues and those big shows, how does Up Next Fighting compare to them? And how does Up Next Fighting differentiate itself from those promotions? Well,
yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, it's the production value, you know, like, and it's also, this is the mind of someone, Chris Buckner, you know, and the Buckner boys, Ryan and Kobe. And, you know, we got George Bestmagine, he's epic, he's been around for forever. But these guys know what a good product looks like. And it's not just dollars and cents to them. They are trying to make a product that they want to watch. As opposed to, I think, some of these other guys where they're not trying to build the fighters, they're not trying to, you know, showcase those fighters' personalities, but, you know, Up Next Fighting is all about that. And I think that's the way to go because, like I said, it's all about the fans. You know, the fans come to be entertained. You know, why should I drink Pepsi instead of Coke? You know, it's the branding, right? The branding here is far superior than anything I've seen out there. You know, I remember, you know, my last fight was for Bellator, and you know, just walking out there, it like kind of clicked, like, what they do different than some of these other shows. You know, it was basically like I felt like I was walking out to a rock concert. And then, I mean, if you saw the entrance for the last, I mean, of course you did, the last Up Next Fighting, I mean, I got chills. You know, it was like watching a Pride event, you know, which is like, I mean, that was, you know, filling up the Tokyo Dome and stuff. But it was the same formula that they're using, you know. So, I mean, it's comparing apples to oranges at this point. I mean, far superior in my opinion.
Okay, so let's delve into those apples and those oranges. What have those other promotions done wrong that Up Next Fighting is doing right?
Buddy, how long do you have? I mean, you know, last show I went to, it's just like, they're getting the fighters. They hire a guy that gets the fighter's name wrong. They don't, they don't spend any time on trying to build these fighters up. They don't delve into their personalities. They have a guy who's announcing the fight with like disrespect, you know what I mean? And it's just like you're sitting in the back and it's just, like, I get it, your production value. I mean, not everybody can afford what we can, but I mean, it's just, just try a little bit harder, especially like you go to an amateur fight. These guys are being super professional and they're not fighting for any compensation. And you're over here just basically treating them like a piece of meat, and you could tell like Up Next Fighting actually cares about these kids, and they go the extra mile for these kids. And, I'm not just saying it, we're going to show you guys in the days and years to come, the difference between us and them and how we handle these fighters.
So let's talk about that a little bit. When you first started fighting as a professional, there was no amateur ranks.
No amateurs.
But cast yourself back into little Thor days.
Yes.
All right, you're getting ready for your first fight, and Up Next Fighting approaches you with the opportunity to fight as an amateur, and they're going to showcase you. How would that have made a difference in your career back then to the fighters now? How would that have made your career a little different?
I would probably be a household name by now because of the amount of attention they bring to each of the fighters. Like the bandwidth that the UNF has, and how they go and really try to build the person. They share content. They, like little things that these other promotions didn't do. I mean, my first fight was in Costa Rica in a shopping mall. You know what I mean? And like, I don't even think there's footage of it. Thank God I got my ass kicked. But Up Next, like, really packages each one of these kids and takes their personality and showcases it in a way that they create fans, and it's like if I had this outlet growing up, this amateur promotion that actually cares about the fighters, I mean, I think I'd be a household name by now. I really do.
So the reach that Up Next Fighting is looking for, we can build the biggest antenna in the world and it can reach 1 million television sets. But how are we going to get the people to turn the channel to Up Next Fighting when we are on those television sets?
Yeah, so social media, I believe, is a huge component. I mean, if you look at Instagram, right? Like, you have these things called Reels, and people are posting content on Reels. But like the fact that we're living in an age where Jake Paul is probably the most popular boxer out there right now, and I mean, that says something. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but it shows the importance of social media and creating content. I mean, the guy basically, Jake Paul can do anything. I mean, if he started an OnlyFans, people would tag him. It's not about fighting. The guy could go in, like, he would probably be a bowler right now. People would be watching bowling and stuff. So I think you gotta kind of tap into that a little bit without losing the authenticity of the fight game. We don't want to be a joke either. You know what I mean? Like, we're out here really, showing fights that are competitive, to say the least, right? These kids are hungry. We have the best of the best competitors out there. But having said that, we also have personalities and we have a product that we are trying to market to the fans to get them to tune in.
What do you think will be the next step for Up Next Fighting?
Total world domination. No, I think the next step is that we create a culture, where we make the fans, for every dollar they spend, we want them to feel like they got $5 back. You know what I mean? We want to make a culture where people cannot wait for the next event. We want to have people that are fans of the brand. We want to build all of these amateur kids to really, I want them to be paid for this positive thing that they're doing, because it is a positive thing. These kids wake up early in the morning. Most of them have jobs, day jobs, and they go out there and they are willing to risk it all for our entertainment, So that culture right there of appreciating the fans, the attitude of gratitude that we have for our fans and for our fighters, I think is going to really show. It's going to really take us to the next level. Okay,
so right now I want you to look in the camera and tell the people that are watching what they can expect to see at Up Next Fighting 2.
You are going to see a show that you have never seen before. You have seen fights, but nothing like this.
And we have a couple of these nice shiny belts here in front of us.
I'm tempted.
Any of them tempting you to step back inside the cage, Mr. Skancke?
You know, I mean, I'm tempted for sure all the time. You know, I think a fighter is always a fighter. Even you know, I am retired. You know, I consider anyone that's not fighting once every 2 or 3 months to be retired, frankly. But I mean, if it was as easy as me just grabbing one of these and putting it on and it meaning something, you know, I'd grab one right now. But the thing is, fighting is not just you know, it's not just the 15 minutes that you spend in that cage. I mean, there's training camps and it's really hard. And also, I have a wife. I'm recently married, and I don't think she would be too happy for me to go step back in there. But you know, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing here. And you know, never say never. I mean, you know, we'll see.
It'd be nice to see your name carved into one of those belts.
Yeah, I know it would. You know, I know it would. But hey, it's a young man's sport, and you know, I'm looking at these 2 young men that are going to step into that cage, and I'm rooting for them. You know, they're truly ambassadors of the sport. You know, we got Terrion Ware and Albert Morales. You know, and I'm really excited to see one of these young men put on that belt and represent this organization with pride.
Let's talk about that main event real quick. Two fighters that have been around for a while, not young fighters. Both
young compared to me.
And compared to me, even more so. But 2 very hungry fighters. Still at this point in their career, Terrion Ware fought in the UFC. Albert Morales also fought in the UFC. Now trying to make their way back to the big show. What can we expect? What can the fans expect to see from Terrion Ware? We'll start with Terrion.
I'm gonna actually address both of them right now, because a man, when I first started fighting, I thought fighting would be there forever. You know, I really did. I believed it. You know, and it's just something I did. You know, and you know, the cheetahs run. You know what I mean? I fought. That's what I did. And then you get to a point where you realize, like, damn, this shit isn't going to be here forever. You know what I mean? I'm getting up there in age. A man that is chasing a legacy is a dangerous man. And they're chasing legacy. Like, they're chasing something that they want to, they're trying to build pyramids that future generations will look back and see. You know what I mean? And these kids are, man, it's gonna be a good one. Now, as far as individually, I mean, these 2 guys are fire and ice. They couldn't be any more different, as they are the same. They're both guys that have fought in every single promotion you can think of, from the UFC to like everything in between. And they both represented themselves very well, and they're both very dangerous, you know. But you got a striker versus a grappler. You got one person with this personality, which is completely different from the other personality. And styles make fights, and this one is going to be a war. I truly believe it. I mean, I can't wait for this fight.
All right, folks. Get your tickets. UpNextFighting.com. Make sure you get your tickets now, because they will not last. This fight will sell out. You'll get a chance to see Mr. Thor Skancke live and in person at the show.
Yo, get your tickets, okay? I don't want to have to come
now.
looking for you right now.
Now.
Okay? Do it. Do it now.